Hello, everybody. Reed here. How's it going? Today, we're going to have another very interesting conversation about narcissism as a network. And again, on this series, Tupac was an actor, part 9. We're going to talk about another innovation of Tupac's. Not only was he sort of like the beginning of certain rap styles that Biggie stole, right? He was the at the beginning of the the cultural gangster. I don't think before Tupac we had any national gangsters, right? We had like the in Chicago, like what was the guy name into Chicago? I forgot his name. We had gangsters like them in Chicago. Um, Larry Hoover. Who else? Jeff Ford. Who else? Who was the man, the pimp that his son, oh, Fluky Stokes. We had those guys in Chicago, and then you had people in Philly and things like that. I think that's where Rick Ross was, or California Rick Ross and things. You had like um, localized gangsters, right? But the role that Tupac came out, he was the first. Basically, I don't think there's any other gangsters. Are there any other gangsters? I mean, you got a lot of wannabes who came around him and who came after Tupac, but they're not unique, right? They're just, poor black dudes just trying to fit into that category. And many of them not even gangsters themselves. They're simply acting like they're gangsters, but they're not. They're not real. They don't even act. They're not as believable as Tupac, right? Um, so remember, the act is the same thing that Paris Hilton picked up, but Paris had a set, and she had producers where Tupac had his stupid boys, and then after that, Kim K produced it even more, took it to the billionaire spot, right? Now, not only did Biggie steal his style, but then after his death and Biggie's death, then everybody else moved to where he was and picked off where he left off. And there you go with Jay Z. And then Jay Z got Beyonce, and then they took over the game. Look, they did the man wrong. Yeah. Tupac was basically unalive because the forces of darkness, meaning the unconscious people around him, wanted the things that he was creating. They wanted how lucrative it was, right? They were all fighting over it in the background. Now, there's another disturbing fact about Tupac's life. He was so innovative that at his higher self, he can create all of this wealth that they benefit of, and I would say is up to trillions. He could have been the him and his family could have been dynastic wealth if they would have been able to hold social media and launch it as a social media. He would have been a don over social media and making social media stars and things like that. He would have escaped rap as an artist. And he did that when he was his higher self. However, when he was injured and he was damaged at his lower self, then he created something else. Oh man, he created something that was very sinister. Oh, this is ugly what he created. You know, that's the thing about dark empath, but when empaths get injured, they still create. All of those sick people around Tupac couldn't create a bologna sandwich. They're energy deficient, couldn't create nothing. And even at his sickest, when he was at his worst, he still created something that lasts today that I think needs to get addressed. Tupac was the first human sacrifice in a satanic cult that I would refer to as drill music. Yep. Tupac was the first sacrifice. And Tupac's sacrifice became the model for success. In that drill game, it's not the best rapper who gets to the top, it's Fortnite. The last man standing is the man that wins. And all of our reality goes in that direction. We are forced to listen to the awful music of the people who simply won the physical fight, not the people who are the best at entertaining us. You got the difference between the two? We should have been living in a reality where Pac was living and we were benefiting from all the things he done. But now we're living in a reality of those who stole the goods are running things. And because of their reality, their versions of the story stick. And their versions are what reality becomes reality. Remember when, let me see if I can give you an example here. Remember, let me go back to Back to the Future. Remember they had a town that was new. Okay, look. Okay. Okay, in Back to the Future, the fictional town of Hill Valley is seen in different eras, right? With the most notable comparison being its transformation between 1955 and 1985. The downtown area, especially Courthouse Square, undergoes dramatic changes in a vibrant pedestrian hub with a desolate car-focused space. Yeah, yeah. Let me see here. I think this is it. Let me show you this.
All right, this feels almost elite.
So in Marty's real reality, the town square has flowers and everything. But when he didn't live, and now is Biff's reality, the other character, the town is desolate and things like that. And I'm thinking we're living in that version now, because Tupac didn't survive. So let me see if I can. So I think this is the town. This is the town now in 1955, right? And this is the reality, right? And things are working. You have the stores. Yeah, look at this. Okay, so and this is so true. This is so true. If we were in a real reality, then everything would be flourishing, right? Look, 4 people on one car. Look, I remember those days, right? Look, new music, right? You got people's the stores. Look, like people, you got families and things like that in that square. And look at the town square. The town square here. Yeah, look at town. Yeah, look at the town square. And then now let me see. Marty. $1985. 1985. Did we get 1985? Yeah. Well, let me just see. Okay, well. Okay, well, you know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying anyway. So I'm saying because Tupac didn't live, we're in a completely different reality. We're in a reality that basically sucks. Why? Because the people who basically took over the game were not the people who were the most talented and things like that. And so this set off this just satanic, this ritual whereby the person who's crowned the king of rap is done so because they survived all the murders and all the killings, right? Now, let me see why this is so important. Okay, now let's see. I forgot what the guy's name was. Orlando. Okay, now this guy here is the guy that Tupac his crew was stomping out in the MGM. Let's look at this.
They claim there is evidence he was in the white Cadillac that night in Las Vegas, that he got out and fired the shots.
From 1995 to date, have you ever ridden in a white Cadillac? No. Do you know anyone who owns a white Cadillac? No.
Anderson, an alleged Los Angeles gang member, has vigorously denied any involvement in the murder and in depositions claimed he was not at the scene. The estate.
Okay, let me see here.
Hey, listen, if you own a business that makes over $200,000 per year in gross revenue, what if I told you?
Well, new tonight, a source tells 13 Action News they believe an arrest is finally imminent in the Tupac Shakur case. The legendary rapper's life cut short right here in Las Vegas.
Okay,
now,
no,
13 Action News anchor Moss.
This is about something else. Okay, so now let me go here. Okay, let me just go to the actual shooting so we can sort of see what happened. Okay, so here, September the 7th, 1996, drive-by shooting assassination. Okay. Okay, so the challenge the rappers are having now, because you have GPS, is if they're somewhere and someone pings that if they are somewhere and someone in the groups pings their location, then whatever enemies or ops that they have know exactly where they at, and it puts them under a lot of danger. So this, in the current drill movie scene, the setups are usually by other people pinging your location. And this is exactly what happened to Tupac, right? Outside the let me see here. Okay, let me see. Okay. Let me get the guy's name. I keep forgetting this guy's name. Orlando. Okay, is it Anderson? Okay, Orlando Anderson.
I've been thinking, maybe I'm a scapegoat or something. I just want to let everybody know, what I'm saying, I didn't do it. I've been thinking.
To date, have you ever ridden in a white Cadillac? No. Do you know anyone who owns a white Cadillac? No.
Oh, there he is right there. Okay, so Orlando Anderson talking to the police like his uncle Keefy D after getting jumped by Tupac. was saying that narcissism is a network that, you know, the people who are edging you on are right there. You know, the people who are supposed to be supporting him are the ones who eggs him on, and look at them hyping him up right before this. And they're hyping him up right. He doesn't know he's going to die tonight.
That Tupac was shot. And where did you hear?
When I heard that Tupac was shot, when I was...
Keep watching.
All right. Okay. So here, okay. So Tupac's murder was the beginning of just a series of things that it set the template to how you become successful. Now, over here in Chicago, let me show you here. Let me show you Google. Okay, so I'm going to show you O Block, where O Block is. Okay, this is Chicago here. Okay. Okay, so this is the 55th McCormick Place. Okay, so this is 31st Street Beach. Okay, so now we're down to Kenwood. Now we're on 51st Street. Okay, now here's Orange Park. Okay, this 94. Let me see. Is it this way? Okay, now where is it? Is it? Okay, no, it's not here. Okay, I think it's this. Nope, that's Kennedy King. Okay, here it is right here. Okay, this maze here. Okay, so this is Chicago. It's on the south side of Chicago. This old set of project housing. This is a project housing here, and so this is O Block here. Okay, now O Block. O Block is the let me see. Let's see. All the famous. This is the famous rappers from the O Block in Chicago. Okay, look here. Okay, King Von, right? Deceased. Chief Cleef is still alive, but I think he's fallen off. Lil Durk, he's still alive. You know, King Von's death led to Lil Durk giving opportunities. I don't know anything else about these individuals, but let me show you King Von, okay? And this is what I'm saying. Tupac, in his lower self, created a behavior that's being mimicked by all of the men who listen to his music and identify his music. And they follow the same pathway that he followed, because he's a trailblazer in that regards. He was the first human sacrifice inside of this satanic sort of drill cult-like situation, where the antagonist and the protagonist, one of them must die in order for the king to be crowned. The rap game is so severely distorted and so much cult and narcissistic like that it requires a human sacrifice for any of the rap leaders to be born or to be crowned, right? Remember 50 Cent shot several times in the face. Remember Tupac shot 5 times and things like that. It seems like the more trauma you've been exposed to, the more and survive, the more entitled you are to label yourself king. King Von did it too quickly, right? He did it too quickly. King Von shooting. So let's go to that shooting. Well, I don't want to sign in. I didn't mean to sign in.
If you or someone you know needs help, call 988 Suicide in Crisis Lifeline. It's for any.
Well, you pull out and you shoot 4 times.
Yeah, the gun jammed.
Oh, the gun jammed?
Yeah.
After the 4th shot?
Probably like 3rd shot.
Okay. But after you start shooting, all hell breaks loose. There were...
So barely. So this is the person who unalived King Von. And then the part of this, there's a voyeuristic element to this type of death cult is that the actors are also giving interviews and participating in the discussions about the event as if they're commentating on their own role inside the drama, the same way an actor would be describing the role of a character there in the movie. So here, apparently, he unalived King Von, and he's talking about it like during an interview.
Cops in the area, and they start shooting.
Right.
You end up getting shot twice?
Right.
What parts of the body?
I get shot in my right hip bone, and I get shot on my ass.
Now, notice these are teenagers, right? I mean, can you imagine where these parents at? I mean, the teenagers have to deal with murder. Can you imagine that? How bad that is when teenagers have to deal with something as serious as murder?
Go in and out, though.
Okay, so this is now the 2nd time you've gotten shot.
Yeah, it's the 2nd time I done got shot.
Are you more calm about it this time since you've gone through it before?
Yeah, because like the first time I got shot, I didn't even have a panic attack. I was calm. So it's like this time I knew like do the same thing, like stay calm and just make sure I get to the hospital.
Okay, so a shootout now happens. And a lot of people are starting to get hit. So King Von had a guy named Slutty. He gets killed by the police. King Von's manager, 100K, Track, he gets shot in the leg. Old Block Louie, who I interviewed not too long ago, he gets shot in the head. I guess in the video, he tries to pull out a gun, and I guess his gun jammed or something like that.
I think so. I ain't gonna lie. I was kind of like, by me getting shot, I kind of was like not in a full state of mind. It's like a lot of ringing going on in my ear, I guess, from all the gunshots.
Right, because bullets are flying everywhere at this point.
Right.
Did you think that King Von survived the shooting, or did you know that he was gone at that point?
No, I didn't. I didn't know neither one if he was gone or still alive. I just, like I say, I didn't even know it was him. So I didn't even know if he was dead or alive. I just was trying to make sure Quando was good.
Okay, and there's rumors that were going on around this time. They're saying that Vaughn was trying to hold up Quando as a shield. Did that happen at all?
Yeah, I really think like by him getting shot in the back, he probably was like his body was just locked on to him from holding him. Like people would think he was trying to take his chain or something like that, but I don't really think it was that. I really just think like his body was just locked on and he couldn't let go.
Yeah. So here, in this situation, it's either like you kill your competition in order to get to the top. It's not like you come up with the best raps, right? So show you these two. Now let me see. Okay. Now these two. So here's King Von here. King Von Little Dirt. Right? Yeah, I don't want to get any YouTube strikes. Let me get out of here. Where here they are now. So the death of King Von meant that Lil Durk will become king, right? And as soon as Lil Durk got into that position, what did he do? I think he started trying to kill other people. Let me see here. Let me see. Legal issues update. So what does he do? Try to kill somebody else. Yeah. Lil Durk denied bail again in murder case for hire. And so this guy is finally taking pictures. Let me see. He's taking pictures with the big guys. Lil Durk. Just see Jay-Z. Okay, and so Lil Durk, he's had a chance to really get
with the new IHOP value menu. $6 is all it's.
With his ascension to the throne as king, I mean, he really got a lot of different opportunities, and so he got a lot of opportunities from all the different artists, and he was basically put on, and he sort of takes the mantle because he won this death cult, right? Everyone around him were murdered. And so the sadistic, narcissist, psychopath, and sociopath who run the industry basically crowns whoever made it through that death cult alive. They're rewarded with all the contracts, all the music, all the producers. This is nuts. And so Tupac, that model was just the beginning of just an exploitation model, whereby the record companies will only give the resources to the people who basically won the pit fight, right? It's sort of like that. It's an awful way to sort of organize society, having people participate in killing each other just to be the top, when the focus should probably be on whoever had the most creative music. I think that's why drill music really doesn't make any money, and no one would ever, if in their right mind, would ever go to one of the concerts, because it's going to be like there's a death cult. Who's going to go to the concerts? Who's going to pay for the money? So I think it is broadcast throughout society, but the people who are risking their lives in this venture don't even have the opportunity to make any money. It's just that one out of that 1,000 who makes it. But how many bodies are discarded along the way? And this structure is set up within music, right? It's set up within music. It's awful. So let me see here. So let's see. Lil Durk. Let me see. Lil Durk, Ego Troubles. Let me just go through. Okay, here. All right. Lil Durk denied bail again, right, in murder for hire case. The rapper is facing a life sentence if convicted, which would make any innocent defendant consider flight as a national rational alternative. I hope I can read some of this before they start charging. Lil Durk will remain in custody pending his October trial. In a new ruling issued Monday, the U.S. District Judge Michael Fitzgerald declined to release the Grammy-winning rapper. The Grammy-winning rapper. Hold on for a second. A murderer. I mean, okay, see, when I said that this is a death cult, I'm saying this is all they do. Right? Here he is. He makes it up his way through this death cult and he becomes the man. And what is he still doing? The things that death cult members do. That's all they can do. Hire someone for murder, win a Grammy, and then get in prison for a life sentence. Right? He couldn't accept that he was at the top and he didn't have to do that anymore. He tried to what? Secure his position. Why? By taking out his enemies. He got caught on a new beefed up bail proposal, including $4.5 million and a 24-home detention with electronic monitor and private security. Man, you listen, bro. You doing drill music, man. This is your first album. You ain't making money like that for private security, man. And then your security won't fight back, man. He cannot get social media security because he knows they're not going to shoot back. If he needs to get private security, it's going to have to be real contractors who are licensed to definitely shoot back, and he doesn't have that type of money. And that's another. When you get to the top, you're disposable because they can just push you to the side and then take everything you have. Diddy, right? Right? The main problem here is that based on information in the sealed pretrial service report, the pro-offered funds are only a fraction of the defendant's net worth. He said Banks is facing a mandatory sentence of life in prison without parole. And such a possibility, okay, this is about his bail. Okay, look, Banks has pleaded not guilty to charges. He hired a group of hitmen to travel to Los Angeles and commit an execution-style murder in broad daylight in August 19, 2022. Broad daylight, the gangster movies, right? Federal prosecutors are alleged the intended target of the purported murder for hire scheme was Traquan Terrell Bowman, also known as Quando Rondo. Remember that? Quando Rondo? Remember, Remember here, this man here, Quando, yeah, I think it's gone. Okay. Yeah, we saw the video earlier of the man who was protecting Quando Rondo. So he's the one that shot up Lil Durk. So he's revenging his buddy's death. They allege Banks believe Bowman was involved in the death of Banks' friend and protege, Von King Bennett. Prosecutors claim the alleged hitman stalked Bennett in Los Angeles and ambushed him at a gas station nearby the Beverly Center shopping mall, firing at least 18 rounds from multiple guns, including a machine gun. Bowman's cousin said he was struck and killed as he traveled with Bowman. So it was Lil Durk that killed Quando Rondo. Let me look at who Quando Rondo is. I don't want to YouTube's. You know, it's so sad that these young men have to participate in this cult, this death cult, that basically forces them to sacrifice each other just to try to get some notoriety or anything like that. This is awful. It's absolutely awful. Let me see here. Let me say, list the name of famous rappers who were murdered since 2015. Let's say a 10-year view. And then now you look at this, and it's a significant list. It's very significant. Look, Nipsey Hussle, right? Yeah, Nipsey Hussle. Again, the thug, right? The thug, but not really a thug, right? All right, let me see here. Okay, look, XXXTentacion. Look at this. And let me.
At Harbor Freight, you can afford it. We designed our own
XXXTentacion. I can't
and tonight,
pronounce the name.
disturbing surveillance video showing the murder of South Florida rapper XXXTentacion and the moments leading up to it.
The 20-year-old was killed back in June, and 4 men have since been indicted. CBS 4's Carrie Codd is in Fort Lauderdale with the story.
Surveillance cameras captured the ambush of rapper XXXTentacion as he prepared to leave a Deerfield Beach motorcycle. Young artist. Surveillance video also showed XXX inside the dealership that day when at least one of the suspects walked past him. A short time later, the drama unfolded outside. 4 men in all are charged in the murder. One of them, Robert Allen, appeared in court this week asking to have his bond reduced.
To some extent, was at the wrong place at the wrong time with the wrong people.
Yep.
Jim Lewis is Allen's defense attorney.
Okay. Thank you so much.
It's always been my client's position is he didn't know this was going to be a robbery. He didn't participate in it. He didn't share in any of the fruits of it.
Lewis said Allen never left the vehicle to take part in the robbery, but prosecutors and investigators accused Allen of playing a role in the murder. The judge denied Allen's request. And now investigators continue to build their case against the men seen in this dramatic and horrifying video. Carrie Codd, CBS 4.
Yeah, awful. Awful. And then the men were celebrating. They celebrate on Instagram. And so after they unalived them, then they took the money and began playing it on
CBS 4's Naja
on the
Sharma
internet.
in the newsroom with the video.
What Patrick Williams is found. The first video that we're going to discuss. Can you tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jury? Just William.
29 p.m.
It's just.
Now show you this. Now they just unalive this person, and look, they're so happy. They're so happy to have the money but their ego doesn't have any type of capacity to understand what they did from the other person's perspective. He only see he got a lot of money for this, right?
Spanning $100 bills and surrounded by money. And this video taken at 12:35 a.m. This time Williams appears to be in a car, also fanning $100 bills, smiling and singing. And in a third video in his bedroom, this time with a torch. The defense tried to cast doubt on what the jurors were seeing.
Whether it's even real, correct?
XXX was carrying $50,000 in cash in a Louis Vuitton satchel when he was murdered, money he obtained from a Coconut Creek bank. Prosecutors say he planned to use the money to buy a motorbike from the shop and made the case that the money in the cell phone video is from the robbery and murder. Detectives say the group shot and killed XXX outside a Broward County motorbike shop on June 18, 2018. Detectives arrested Dedrick Williams, Robert Allen, Trey.
This is very disturbing, let me see. And then they also have videos where the police was, so I don't want to show too much. I don't want it to be too graphic, but you sort of see how this little teenager here, and so I think that's all I want to show. I don't want to show his face and everything. So, you see this young teenager having to deal with murder and to have it happen like this, and to see the guys who did this be so happy about the money they received without having any type of consideration to what they actually did. And so this unconsciousness is what I would describe the features of more like of a death cult. Let me go here to Nipsey Hussle. And here is Nipsey Hussle. So what happens is that if you live in the neighborhood and you become famous, then the people try to unalive you, right? And you don't know where it's coming from. But if they find out your location, then you can be unalive. And so there is no security for anyone in these areas, right? No security for anyone. Is that here? Let me see here. See if I'm
CBS reports that on March 31st, rapper Nipsey Hussle and 3 other men were standing in front of his clothing store in LA's Hyde Park. According to the LAPD, gang member Eric Holder approached the group several times, engaging them in conversation before leaving. According to CNN, Holder returned around 3:20 p.m., armed with a handgun, and opened fire at the group. Surveillance video from an adjacent business shows Hussle and another man fall to the ground as the others run from the gunfire. In the video, the shooter appears to walk away, before then coming back to shoot Hussle a second time and then a third. He kicks the rapper after the third shot, then flees the scene. CNN reports that Hussle died from gunshots to the head and torso. 2 others were wounded. According to the LAPD, Holder ran down an alley following the shooting and got into a waiter car driven by a woman, which then sped away.
Let me see something. I wonder what. So why? What was that? Was that a beef or something like that? Okay, why did he get shot? Okay. Nipsey Hussle was shot by Eric Holder Jr. because of a personal dispute that escalated after Hussle accused Holder of being a snitch. Wow. So Hussle accused Nipsey accused Holder of being a snitch. Holder, an old acquaintance, was a part of the same gang, was angered by this accusation, left the scene and returned several minutes with a gun to carry out the premeditated shooting outside of Hussle's clothing store in Los Angeles. In my podcast, not my series on Narcissism is a network, I did a podcast on how when narcissists target you, they target you basically a four-phase punch all the time. It has 4 components to you, and the whole thing is designed to sort of annihilate you. I'm here. Remember I told you that it starts off when you draw the boundaries. So, and I said, when you draw a boundary with a narc, they respond in minutes, less than minutes. And so it's interesting here that when this person felt disrespected by Nipsey, it says here he left the scene and returned in several minutes later. Minutes. I told you when those narcs, when you get that trauma, the drama, no matter what's going on in your life, if it's chaotic, if it's hurtful, then you drew a boundary with a narc probably like 10 minutes earlier. Yep. Okay, so basically he killed him. He unalived him. Okay, he was convicted of first-degree murder. Hustles were members of the same gang, had a chance encounter. Okay. All right, let me see here. Okay, that's Nipsey and that's X. Okay, then Pop Smoke, yeah. Pop Smoke, oh. Man, you would have hoped that, after you start making money and things like that, you can let the stuff that don't make any money go, right? So let me see. What happened with Pop Smoke? Is it shootout? Pop Smoke's murder, a man gets 29 years for killing a rapper. Yeah, it's awful. Yeah, his home robbery. Yeah. Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that. So let me see. Okay.
Sales in our first year of business, it was surreal. This is definitely going to be a thing. On February 19, 2020, at about 4:30 a.m., Pop Smoke was shot and killed inside of his Airbnb. He wasn't alone, but at the time of the robbery, he was inside the shower. 4 teenagers would storm the house that night before the youngest, a 15-year-old, would fatally shoot him. Pop Smoke was just 20 years old at the time. He was officially pronounced dead at 5:12 that morning, but it would end up taking months to fully solve this case. TMZ reported his death at 1:24 p.m. on February 19th. If we look back at his last post on Instagram, we can see exactly how his day played out.
Let's see what you got here. It better be Pop Smoke. Don't fuck around.
It all started with this post around 11 a.m. on February 18th, just 16 hours before his death. He landed in California and drove to his Airbnb in Beverly Hills, where he posted it on his story, showing off the backyard.
So he posted his location.
To be in Los Angeles for a 4-day vacation. With him was his longtime friend Mike D, and after the two got comfortable, he updated his story with the next post of him getting his haircut. This was followed with a picture of him relaxing by the pool before getting ready to go shopping that evening. In the top left, a tag showing Beverly Hills. So far, the day was playing out normal. Nothing seemed to be out of the ordinary.
Tagged his location.
However, the very next post would change the events of that night. That post actually comes from Mike D. Around 4 p.m., a series of pictures were uploaded on both their accounts. On Pop Smoke's Instagram showed 3 back-to-back pictures of him and Mike together, with Mike holding a stack of cash. On Mike's page was another photo, and nothing seemed wrong with it at first, but this picture had 2 fatal problems. The picture was of Pop Smoke and Mike, with him holding the same stack of money, but in the top left corner, the entire home address is almost visible, with only the first number missing. If someone were to be looking for Pop Smoke, all they had to do was find the first number between 1 and 9. But the worst mistake would come after Mike geotagged the post, showing the location on Instagram maps. This was something they simply couldn't afford to do. An average person can get away with this, but for a high-profile rapper holding wads of cash, this was unacceptable. Despite these posts, the afternoon would carry on seemingly normal, but a few keen eyes had already begun connecting the dots. At 5 p.m., another update to Pop Smoke's story would be added. This one showed him driving once again with the same stack of cash and a diamond-studded Rolex on his wrist. Now there was a location and a motive, and for them, that was enough. For a few hours, Pop Smoke didn't update any posts, but we know he was out shopping. Shortly after taking the photos in the driveway, Mike and Pop got into the white Range Rover and drove from the Airbnb down Santa Monica Boulevard before stopping at the Amiri store. Pop Smoke was getting ready for his Meet the Woo tour starting in March and was taking his last week on vacation. His Meet the Woo 2 tape had just dropped weeks prior, and he was still celebrating its success, so it was only normal for him to go shopping and reward himself. After all, he was in Beverly Hills, a place known for its luxurious shopping. Just 7 hours before his death, at 10 p.m., he returned back to the Airbnb and updated his story again, this time with a view of the city at night from the backyard. But his stay was short.
See, this death code thing isn't good, carrying stacks of money like that is it's just not a bad idea. It's an invitation to somebody to come and take it for you.
Wanted to record new music that night. At 11 p.m., Pop Smoke would upload a seemingly harmless video showing some of the shopping he had done earlier that day. Unfortunately, this post would be the third and final mistake. The 3 Amiri bags shown in the video would leak sensitive information. The tags on them revealed the Airbnb's full address, and now he was completely vulnerable. A talent manager at his label spotted the error and asked him to take the post down. But what Pop Smoke didn't know was that 2 teenagers had already been keeping an eye on his stories. The 2 men who were taking notice were from the well-known Hoover gang in LA. They took note that Pop Smoke was close by, only about 20 minutes away. Their cell phone records showed that around midnight they began looking at the address on maps and scouting out the location. They decided they would make a move that night. At 1 a.m., Pop and Mike left to record at East West Studios near Sunset Boulevard, just a few miles away. While he was working on new music, the 2 teens were working on their plan. According to the Los Angeles Times, at 2 a.m., a black BMW would show up on surveillance outside the home. The car rolled past the house and circled back before stopping. It showed a passenger getting out and sneaking toward the back of the house before quickly returning to the car. At the time, too many people were in the home, and Pop wasn't even there. The car then sped off, heading back to where they came from, where they recruited 2 more teens to help in the robbery. The hills were only about 20 minutes away from South LA, so they all decided to switch cars and try returning later. Around 3 a.m., Pop left East West Studios. He got in the Range Rover with Mike and a woman he met that night named Amelia Rose. They would then drive back, unknowing of the events about to take place. Pop and Amelia went upstairs to the master bedroom and Mike to a room down the hall. Around the same time, the four teens had already swapped cars to an Infiniti sedan and began looking up the address on Zillow. Through pictures, they now had a better understanding of the home's layout and the location of the master bedroom Pop would most likely be staying in. Pop, who was now in bed with Amelia, got ready to end his night with a shower. His last activity on social media were these Twitter replies to a few fans. About 20 minutes passed and the Infiniti would pull up, lights off. They snuck through the backyard and climbed up the balcony to the second floor. Amelia was the first one to notice the movement outside, but before she could react, the house was stormed by three men with masks and guns out. They put a gun to her head and advised her to stay quiet, taking her phone and purse while the other two went into the bathroom to confront Pop Smoke. They told Pop to take off his watch and hand it over, to which he did. But then Pop lunged at the gunman and attempted to fight back when he was shot in the chest by a 15-year-old. Amelia screamed as Pop hit the floor and the two men kicked him repeatedly. In a final attempt to escape, Pop got up and ran toward the stairs where he was shot 2 more times in the back. The three men then stormed out of the house. Mike was woken up by gunshots ringing through the halls, to which he found Pop at the bottom of the stairs and immediately called 911.
Hello? If you live in an Illinois zip code and have zero rise in the last 5 years, hello? Hello? I'm a child to wait for LAPD.
Medical arrived 20 minutes later and took him to Cedars-Sinai, where he passed away just 1 hour later. At the same time of his passing, his killers were already searching up the local news to see if they had reported it yet. They even looked up the price of Pop's stolen Rolex, the only item they made it out the house with. In total, they got just $2,000 for it, split between 4 people. Despite having cell phone and internet records, authorities didn't have hard evidence to make arrests for almost 3 months. It wasn't until the 15-year-old was arrested for an unrelated crime. But because police already had their eyes on him as a person of interest, they rigged his jail cell with recording devices. Eventually, he told his cellmate he'd taken part in robbing Pop Smoke and that he pulled the trigger killing the rapper. The driver of the vehicle was arrested as well and eventually told his cellmate the same details of that night, confirming the story, initially having no intentions of shooting him. But when Pop put up a fight, they panicked and shot him. Corey Walker was the 19-year-old who stayed in the car that night, and Keandre Rogers was the 18-year-old who led the charge into the house. They were both charged with murder with special circumstances and will remain in prison indefinitely. The 17 and 15-year-old were charged as juveniles for murder and robbery, and they remain unnamed to this day.
Well, I think I see what I'm saying. In this series of Narcissism in the Network, I'm trying to help you understand the structures around you. And these structures are inflexible. They force you to submit. When you submit to these structures around you, it results in a significant amount of emotional and psychological distress, right? And that's why I'm here to help you that understand that narcissism is a network. And on this, Tupac is a actor series. Tupac and his lower self created this pattern of sacrifice and things like that to get to the top that's now being emulated by all the younger rappers after him. This is sort of like his influencing, actually tunneling in the opposite direction towards things that are like unproductive. Why? Because he was locked in creating those things in his lower self. And that's the only thing the lower self is going to do, is create structures that can go on and create more havoc and chaos. And this is what it is. The current rap game is, in my opinion, a large sort of like, I don't believe in Satan or anything like that, but the best word, evil. Now, I say evil. When I say evil is that those teenagers went there to take things from him and unalive him just to get what, $200 a piece, like $500 a piece, right? And that is good for them. That type of darkness, that type of evil. Remember on the video with XSS Tentacion and the people who unalived him were walking right past him, acting as if they were friendly, but at any moment they would unalive him just to take the cash, to have fun with it. They enjoy sick things like this. And so this real death cult culture is awful because it requires that these young men, particularly the ones who are the most talented, be sacrificed. Yep. I think that's all I have for today, folks. and enjoy my city. Tupac was an actor. So most importantly, don't you get yourself caught up into one of these situations where you have to sacrifice yourself just to let the other people around you survive, right? These narcs will put you in a situation where you have to dim your light, ignore your shine, deny your talent, ignore your beauty, just so they can feel comfortable, just so it doesn't anger them. So think about this. Tupac was an actor, but his behavior had consequences. The young men followed him in that thug life. And you know what? Every one of them, everyone except one is paying the price for it, right? Narcissism is a network. Read out. Take care, guys. Ciao. It's all I do.